Hey everybody, we are live, and glad to see you. If you show up, we're not expecting a lot of things. We're just right now dropping some information on y'all about Doc Salem. So this will be sitting on my channel after we're done with our live stream. And if you jump in the chat and have some questions, please ask. Here we got Mr. Doc Salem, Nikki the Pipe is his thing, which is really confusing because we're talking about Preston Acevedo. And Nikki the Pipe is Rockabilly Road Trip, and Doc Salem's a completely different project. So yes, that is very confusing. But we're talking about Preston Acevedo here, and Preston is an excellent artist and a good friend and a wild dude. So if you have any questions for him, just
super wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll answer anything you want to
Super
ask.
wild comic collector, drawer of cartoons.
Yeah, I think. Do you still have all those boxes of comics like behind you? You had those for a while. Yeah.
Boxes. Oh yeah, they're back there. Yeah, my vintage collection.
Right. Yeah.
I might have to sell it if there's lockdown stuff.
Yeah, the lockdown continues too much. Actually, the lockdown should actually benefit you big picture because other than people not having money, that's the downside.
Oh yeah, that's gonna suck.
Yeah,
you can't buy a Ghost Rider #1 when nobody has money.
Right, exactly. but the fact that you can work from home benefits you, so you don't have to technically stop working.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, you already have an audience built up like that you've cultivated over a certain amount of years. So
right. And that's you can always build up a new audience because everybody else is locked up at home too, and they're looking for something to entertain themselves. So
absolutely, yeah.
So definitely, that's
definitely a good thing.
Definitely. All right.
You work from home too, though, don't you?
Yes, I do. And so far, I'm not hit by the lack of work thing. Because I have a couple of I have a regular client that's like a bread and butter client, and they're feeling the issue on their end, but they're childcare. You know what I mean? So they're considered a necessity.
I think out of all of this, the main things that aren't going to be affected is childcare, the medical industry, and teachers. Teachers aren't going to be affected. Like government workers.
Right, and food industry that has takeout and delivery, and pickup, like fast
Well, I
food.
know a lot of restaurants have gone into delivery because they can't have people inside anymore.
Right, that's exactly right. And then like fast food hasn't really taken much of a hit on this,
but that's going to suck for waiters. The wait staff is going to be hurt.
Pizza delivery has exploded, to my understanding. It's like they can't keep enough people, taken care of.
Now, if Walmart shuts down, you might have a little bit of a problem.
Walmart will have employees working diseased. They'll be sitting there coughing.
Don't cough on the merchandise.
2 aisles over on number aisle 7. It's like, dude, like, man, back up, okay? I don't need you right in my face when you're coughing. It's okay. Can you lean that way? I can just imagine, man, what a nightmare that would be. So I am excited that your Doc Salem campaign has relaunched. How do you feel about it so far?
Honestly, I was a little like, here's the deal. Whenever you run a campaign, you don't want it to slow down. You want the momentum to keep going. And so I was a little off-put when it hit a certain number and then it started slowing down. Now, it's at 35%, all right, from hitting its goal. And its goal is set at $2,500. That's the rock bottom minimum to get the book out the door. And I was kind of like, oh, crap. But then I realized, like, it's a 30-day campaign and I'm still on 30 days.
Right.
So I can't complain too much because it's at 35% on a 30-day campaign and I still got 30 days left.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, you gotta like think, you were just coming off of the back end of another campaign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you haven't had a whole lot of time with that campaign in demand to get that thing fulfilled. You know what I mean? Where you have
we haven't even come. We did fulfill like
right. Well, what I'm trying to where I'm going is this is like your second campaign comes out before people have physical books from you yet. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's a challenge. Brand had that same challenge. They kind of overcame it because he's got a big following, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. He made a big noise, and he got support from EVS and whatnot. But Brand had that same thing, is that they still haven't fulfilled the first book yet, right?
Yeah.
And they started the second campaign. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, I don't know if I want to back this." While
Well, I
I
want
haven't got that
everybody
yet.
to
Yeah.
be to have some peace of mind when it comes to this. Rockabilly Road Trip is finished, both the trade paperback and the volume one, and I have partners on this book that will be helping me fulfill it. We have time. It's good. Everybody, calm down.
Well, I don't think anybody's worried. You know what I mean? It's too soon for anybody to actually be worried. But what I would suggest is probably the reason why you're seeing a slow start to Doc Salem
Mhm.
is because there's still the Rockabilly Road Trip, even though it's like
Well,
not
no,
really.
I don't want to give that impression. Like to me, it seems like a slow start, but it's the same exact start I got with Rockabilly Road Trip. You see what I'm saying? Because I think more people were waiting for Doc Salem to come out and knew about Doc Salem than the people that knew about Rockabilly Road Trip.
More people are probably
And
aware of Doc Salem because of from
yeah,
the previous campaign. Yes.
and that's another thing too. I want to make people aware that I am doing a cross promotion between the two campaigns. So if you have backed Rockabilly Road Trip, you're eligible for the secret perk on Doc Salem. All you have to do is select the perk. It can't be digital. You can select the rock bottom minimum, which is just a book for $20, and you're eligible to get the secret perk. There's no shipping on the secret perk. It's combined with whatever perk you already got, and it's at a discount. And that's the crossover raw cover, which features Six Gun Gorilla, Doc Salem, and Doc Alpha on the cover, and it's the pencils. Yeah. So yeah, that's
Very cool.
yeah. So that's kind of a thank you, and it's also available to the first 10 backers of Doc Salem. And all the guys who signed up for the pre-campaign.
Well, let's give this a little gander. Your little
I got a
promo video.
swirling icon where the
You notice
where your screen is supposed to
genius,
be.
an unholy creation. The world, of course, remembers the monster, not the man. But sometimes, when you look closely, there's more to a tale. Sometimes the monster is the man. This is the story of Dr. Salem, Monster Hunter. Dr. Victor Frankenstein endures life-threatening wounds inflicted by his very own creation. His trusty assistant Igor injects him with the elixir of life, which puts him in a state of suspended animation. When he finally awakens, many years have passed and times have changed. The world that he knew is long gone and the tables have turned. Now monsters have emerged from the shadows and taken over. Victor Frankenstein finds that he is a one-in man due to the devastation his creation had wrought. To make amends for his transgressions, Victor assumes the guise of Dr. Salem and hunts down rogue monsters. This new and exciting series, created by artist and writer Preston Acevedo, is a 52-page graphic novel that combines Lovecraftian horror with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to give you a fresh new look into the world of classic monsters. So join the Doc Salem army and help Doc Salem bring peace and balance to the world, one monster at a time. Thank you for your support.
So that is Doc Salem.
Yeah. So let's see here. The you got a digital available for them for $10,
Mm-hmm.
and then the I'm a Collector, which is just the original cover, right?
Yeah. What I did was in this campaign, I learned a lot from the first time I tried to launch this, and that is that you can get the original cover and then you can select any alternate cover to add to your perk.
Yeah, as an
You see what
add-on.
I'm saying? Yeah, as an add-on.
Mhm.
So where before it was like you can get the original cover or you can get all 4 collectors covers, And so I don't think a lot of people wanted that. So I made it to where you can get each individual cover, or you can you can add each individual cover as onto a perk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to point that out.
No, the add-on thing is pretty good. I don't like the way that Indiegogo handles the add-ons, because if you don't, like, some people just don't realize they're there.
Really? Because
yeah.
I mean, I didn't see it as too bad. I mean, it doesn't show up
But
in the perk list,
yeah,
but it does show up when you go to check out. You
it
know?
does show up, but it depends on how your checkout works. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Yeah,
never thought of that.
yeah, because I've noticed that like from the phone, I never see the add-ons.
Really? Holy
Yeah,
shit, dude.
and then if I'm on the laptop, I have to scroll down sometimes to see the add-ons on my checkout process. And if I'm a somebody who goes through Indiegogo pretty fast, like you have your credit card and everything all saved, so like when you do a checkout, you just kind of go boom boom, I'm getting it, boom, check out. You have no idea that the add-ons are there because you don't even scroll to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that you don't even know they're there. So if you're going to have add-ons like that, make sure you push that feature real hard so people know to look for them.
Yeah.
You know?
You're absolutely right. Actually, I never thought of that. Like, I mean, I'm, I don't really like troll Indiegogo like from from my phone. It's always on my desktop. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I always see it from my from the point of view of a desktop. But yeah, I mean, I never thought of that. You're absolutely right.
There's multiple considerations. I mean, add-ons, people know they're there if they're used to purchasing a certain way.
Mhm.
But it's like people purchase from multiple like devices. Like they might purchase from the desktop if that's where they're sitting, or their phone if that's where they happen to be, at where when
Yeah.
they're like if they're checking Twitter from their phone. You know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
it's easier for them to click a link from their phone to go to Indiegogo versus like with me, because of the phone has been a bigger pain in the butt for me to actually, because the Indiegogo is not as friendly on the phone as it is on the desktop. I've stopped buying from the phone on Indiegogo. You know what I mean? Because it's just not as convenient, because you can't really find everything the same way. I mean, it does list all the perks, but it's not the same as the desktop. The desktop's friendlier. Plus, I feel as though it's like you can send tweets easier and all that kind of stuff. So I usually don't even go to Indiegogo anymore from the phone unless I'm just checking campaign numbers for somebody.
No, I do the same thing. That's what I use it for. Like just to see where the campaign's at. Like I don't like try to order anything off. Plus, I don't trust my phone. Like I have more faith in my desktop because I got virus protection and all that stupid shit. So,
Right.
but yeah, you're right. Just so everybody knows, you can get all of the alternate covers added on, and if you are a previous, like if you did back road trip or you've signed up for the pre-campaign or you're one of the 10 first backers of Doc Salem, you have to PM me or send me a message through Indiegogo, and I'll send you the link to the secret perk. And but you have to have a perk with Doc Salem to be able to get it, and it can't be digital. So,
There you go.
yeah, and the cover's going to be released, the crossover cover, because this is the first Doc Salem #1 kicks off the first COMICSGATE company crossover, or inner, what would you call it? Like a
Well, it's not the first crossover, so you're really racing to market on who's going to be the first crossover, because the other first crossover hasn't been released yet. That's the Monster MD Shinobi Sasquatch crossover.
Did they even work on that? Because I thought they were still working on Shinobi Sasquatch.
Okay, it's a crossover that exists, but it hasn't been released.
Has it been like worked on?
I don't know how far if they've even drawn it yet or haven't drawn it yet or whatever, but it was part of a campaign.
Well, then we're in a race.
Yes, you are in a race to the first. That is correct. That is where it's at right now. You are racing for the bragging rights to saying that you're the first to do it. Yes.
And I love this type of stuff too, dude. Like this is what's fun for me with comics. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember there was a with First Comics. First Comics did a Dreadstar Nexus Badger crossover. Yeah.
Right.
And I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen, right? Because none of these universes have anything to do with each other, but they all crossed over. And this is so much fun because it's Doc Salem, it's Dr. Alpha, which is a completely bad guy created by the Literature Devil, and also Six Gun Gorilla, who's not really a bad or good, he's a gunfighter. So this is going to be interesting.
So
Uh,
you guys have. I know that I don't want to do any spoilers, but I know that you guys have been collaborating behind the scenes on the storyline or whatever. Like you're all taking a piece of it. Is that correct?
yeah, what's probably going to happen, and this is what I pitched to everybody, is I'm going to write a part, and it's going to be an epilogue in Doc Salem #1, so it's going to kick off the crossover. It's going to give you the basis of how everything starts and where it begins. Then whoever's book comes out next, whether it's Brian or it's the Literature Devil, they're going to take it from there. And what's probably going to happen is I'm probably going to have to do a primer, like a middle issue, to kind of bring everything together. Mm-hmm. But the Literature Devil is, you ever played that game where I start a story, you take up where I left off,
yeah,
and then another person takes up after that? This is kind of like that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got one goal and we're reaching a goal, but each person takes their own take on how we reach that goal, and right. It's not as confusing as it sounds. It's going to be extremely awesome and extremely creative. But yeah, so you're dealing with three different properties, three different writers, and and I don't know who's going to have the final issue, but it's going to cross over into each one of those books. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool though. I mean, you need to have that kind of variety on occasion. I mean, that's how like crossing over, in YouTube channels. You know what I mean? You can cross over comic book properties, and that'll help expand the market.
Yeah. Plus, it's fun, and you bring in you bring in a community together too whenever you do stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, because each one of us has our own little group of people that follow our books and follow us, and whenever you do something like this, like it's Six Gun Gorillas Camp is going to want to see what's going on with Doc Salem's camp. Doc Salem's camp is going to want to see what's going on with Literature Devil's camp. You see where I'm going with that? Like, it you can't help but benefit from this. And plus it's a fucking blast, dude. Yeah.
No, that's fun. I mean, I was talking to Sim about doing a Nat the Merc Captain Love crossover.
Yeah.
And I mean, those there are some like universe conflicts. You know what I mean? Like one universe works a certain way and one works a little bit different. We got to dial those out. But that's going to be a fun crossover. So but that's like down the road. We're we both have our hands full. So let's transition real fast, because you do still have another campaign running right now. Yeah, in demand.
Also, I want to let everybody know, like, if you go to the Doc Salem campaign site, all the mashups that I released on Twitter, with the exception of the Shinobi Sasquatch Doc Salem mashup, are available for purchase. And, the Shinobi Sasquatch Doc Salem mashup sold within a couple of hours that it was placed on the campaign site. But yeah.
So Rockabilly Road Trip, you want to do a quick, I know you want me to run the video, so you don't have to
hit the video, hit that beautiful beam footage. Welcome to Rockabilly Road Trip. Rockabilly Road Trip is the story of Nicky the Pipe. Nicky has one special talent. He can build anything. After completing work on his hellish hot rod, which he lovingly calls his devil driver, Nicky finds that his life is still missing something. So he focuses his amazing talents on building Patches, a bombshell of a driving companion, to complement the look of his demonic hot rod. Oh, but Rockabilly Road Trip isn't anything but typical. Our heroes encounter chainsaw-wielding psychos in Texas, greaser aliens from outer space at Area 51, and a voodoo zombie infestation at a roadside stop in Louisiana are just the start of the problems our heroes run into on the road trip of a lifetime. In issue 1 of their brand new full-color series, Nicky and Patches battle a mysterious illness that is driving the women in a small Mississippi town psychotic. So come along for the cross-country love story adventure that is Rockabilly Road Trip. And that's Rockabilly Road Trip.
Yeah. And we got to watch this.
Do it.
Green light, yellow light, red light, go. I wasn't born to take slow, feel bright. Then I feel my pride. Now it's middle to middle, blows my mind. It's crazy. It's like a beer on three, baby. So crazy. It's like a beer on three, baby. It's my pride. This is the country tonight. I breathe for the life is strong. There's no fear. I'm electrified. Ride on! The devil ride. Ride on! The devil ride. Ride on! The devil ride. Ride on, ride on, ride on, ride on! It's crazy! It's like a beer on three, baby.
I just need to point out there's a certain video.
It's like a beer on three, baby.
Right there. This guy right here. Gee, he looks familiar.
Oh yeah, that's me in the background. That's also Jesse, the writer, in the front right there. We decided to be part of our little project.
Yeah, so this is your Rockabilly Road Trip creative team right here.
Yeah, that's it, pretty much. And those contacts they put in them, they're like, "You want contacts?" I was like, "Don't mess with my eyes," because those contacts had his eyes just watering constantly. I was like, "Fuck,"
Yeah,
because it was the complete blackout contacts. That's not just goes over the iris; it goes over the whole eye. And I was like, "Fuck that, dude."
his eyes look hella bloodshot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, they're completely blacked out. Like,
But if you look at his eye sockets,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you could tell that the tear ducts are kicking.
Oh, he had to stay like that for like 30 or 40 minutes. Like he was just wiping his eyes constantly, and I was like, "Fuck that!" I ain't doing that.
So like around the blackout, you can tell it's just like bloodshot.
Yeah. I guess it added to the makeup.
It probably does. It probably adds to the effect, you know.
Yeah. He
it looks like he's about to cry though. So
it was crazy, dude. It was nuts. Also, yeah, it was a blast though. Like that casino scene right there. We contacted a bunch of like small like truck stop casinos and like, "Hey, we just need a corner to go ahead and shoot in your little, one-armed bandit section."
yeah.
And they were concerned because they thought we were trying to rip them off. Yeah. They didn't want cameras in there because they thought we were staking out the place. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So we had to we went to this place called Stage movie props. I think that's what it was called. And we went over there and we had to rent all this stuff, right, to go ahead and make the casino look like a casino. Now, here's the other drawback about that. Like, we had to put it on a flat trailer, to go ahead and truck it from one place to the other. But we had to keep it completely covered up because if we were caught like transporting a slot machine, even though it was gutted, like there was no parts inside of it, it was a felony. Because you could get charged with illegal gambling, know? And so yeah, it was a trip, dude. It was just a complete trip trying to get this thing together, But it only took us 3 days to film the whole thing, And the editing process took longer than it took to film it, to be quite honest.
That's usually the case, yeah.
Yeah. but it was fun. It was a blast.
Excellent.
And Rockabilly Road Trip still there, still in demand. So if you back Road Trip, you're eligible for the Doc Salem secret perk.
There you go. You hear that? So back Rockabilly Road Trip, and then you get your Doc Salem secret perk. Now, how do they get that? They got to DM you? Do you email them? How's that?
You got to PM me, or go ahead and send me an Indiegogo, like send me a message through Indiegogo after you select your Doc Salem perk. Because you have to have a Doc Salem perk to be able to get the secret perk. But to qualify, you have to have backed Road Trip, or have signed up for the Doc Salem pre-campaign, or be one of the first 10 backers of Doc Salem to get it. And what it is, it's the raw cover for the crossover. But yeah, you send me a message through Indiegogo, and I'll send you a link. And the link's not going to be visible to anybody else but you. And you just go ahead and say, like, get the perk.
All right, so back Rockabilly Road Trip, and then get your perk so you get your secret link so you can back Doc Salem.
Yeah. And I got a feeling it's going to be very limited. Extremely limited. So what are we talking about today, Drew?
You know, that's a good question. There's a lot.
Should we talk about Snowflake? Should we talk about safe space?
Okay, Snowflake is
so much.
I thought that was like the most epic troll. You know what I mean? And then when I found out it was the real thing, yeah, I totally thought that was like a troll. You know what I mean?
Or should we talk about the rest of the new warriors? The fat chick with her magic backpack.
that whole thing, I tell you. Okay, so like, okay, here's like when I let's just do it this way. Let's just put full exposure here. Hold on. Let me come over here and drop this right here. So when I Google Snowflake safe space, I just like to note that the top stories here, Marvel criticized for the first non-binary superhero coming from LGBTQ Nation. You would think that would be the last place that they'd be complaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's just like that's the first, like that's the highlighted complaint right there that Marvel criticized for first non-binary superhero name.
I don't think it's about even being non-binary. Although now that's not be like I find that term completely ridiculous. I'm not, but okay, whatever. But I don't even think it's about that. I think it's just how stupid they are to go ahead and name a character Snowflake. I'm saying,
I think, yeah. I mean, it really is, because it's like the whole term snowflake is completely derogatory.
In safe space. I mean, look at these character designs though. Like these character designs are just horrid. Yeah,
that is true. Let's go right to some imagery here. Let's see. So let's go to this one. Let's see. Let's take a look at this sucker. I wanted the picture, not the article. Hold on. Let's go back. I don't want your statistics class. Let's see here. Can we open this in the same window? Can I just open this?
Right click and hit view image.
It won't let me do it. See, right click, I have copy image, open image in a new tab, that kind of stuff. So, damn Max. All right, so let's open it in a new tab and we'll just go over there. And we'll share that. Let's see here.
Oh, what are you clicking on? Are you clicking on the small icon, or are you clicking on the big one?
I was
right clicking on the big one.
I was clicking on the window. Hold on. Let me just get there. Okay. Less confusing.
Oh, there I am.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. And let's make that a little bigger so we can see it. Wait, why is that going wrong? There we go. Should have gone bigger. Anyway, so this is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, first of all, it's like, okay, the color choice. Are we doing Easter eggs or superheroes?
Absolutely. But here's the deal: like the writer for this series, I do you did you ever see the first New Warriors comic? Like the very first one that ever came out, or did you used to read the New Warriors? I don't know your
No,
comic
I
book
never,
history.
I never
Like,
read the New Warriors. It seemed like a
but did you
secondhand
see
term.
the characters from the first team, like Nova, Night Thrasher, Speedball? You know, because the writer said that when he was a kid and he was collecting comics, like he found them intimidating because Night Thrasher had a sword that popped out of his forearm or some shit like that.
Intimidating?
Intimidating. That's the word he used. Intimidating.
Yeah, he shouldn't be writing comic books if he's intimidated by
Exactly.
that.
That's my point. Is you can't. That's I mean, and I think the New Warriors were maybe the least most intimidating comic characters on the shelf at the time. You know what I'm saying? And this is his idea. These two characters right here are his idea of an intimidating or an acceptable comic book character. You know what I'm
You know,
saying? Like,
I'm not exactly sure that's the case. I mean, it's just because I can't see. All right, I can't see. Okay, because Marvel's owned by Disney. All right, so
Mhm.
they have multi-level shit they have to go through before something like this can go public. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So this went through a whole team before this
So
was
you're
allowed to
bringing
go
up the
public.
same argument I had this morning, on the morning show, where I was like, how does the editors must be just smoking crack, or they're just so loaded that they're just like, whatever, dude, just go with it. Because
Or they're trying
Drew, the
to
writer, one of the origins for one of these characters is he inhaled internet gas.
right. Yeah, that's the whole screen dude
What
or
the
whatever,
fuck,
like share screen or
dude?
whatever his name was.
Internet gas. I was like,
Yeah.
what internet gas?
Yeah. So the first thing that I can tell is that they think they don't know who their audience is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They think they're writing comic books
And the editor in
for
chief is out to lunch.
people who watch Saturday morning cartoons. Okay,
Yeah.
that's they really think that's what they're doing, and I kind of have a feeling that that they've changed like their overall business philosophy to basically just test market ideas through the comic books.
Well, I
Because
get that, and I get that they're right. You think they're writing for Saturday people who watch Saturday morning cartoons, but you got to remember Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. All those original Marvel characters were for people who watched Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Like the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and we never had anything like Safe Space and
But the
Snowflake here.
the people who watched Saturday morning cartoons back then are not the same are the ones that watch it now. And I have to admit that as they were targeting the people who watch Saturday morning cartoons, that it wasn't all they were targeting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because first of all, you would hear them say that. It did change. There was a period of time, like in the '90s. I actually have the ability to go back to multiple years of experience of comics. Like I remember comics in the '70s. I
Yeah.
remember comics in the '80s.
I
I
have
remember
most of
comics
them.
in the '90s. You know what I mean? I remember those. And after the '90s, I was pretty much done with comics. For a long time
Yeah.
because the '90s ruined it for me. Because they really started talking down to the reader. It was like they were just throwing shit out there that didn't have to have any kind of realism in any kind of, what I mean, and they were just like, or even congruency. And it's like when they would have a character change so significantly and the storyline would change, and it'd be like the fifth Robin is dying now. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh
You know what I
God,
mean?
yeah, no, I absolutely, and that's another thing too, is that after the '90s, the comic book industry, like became stagnant because they wasn't creating anything new. They were trying to capitalize on old ideas, and like the Marvel movie universe is doing the same exact thing. And what you said about them keeping Marvel and DC around for as an idea like factory, right?
Mhm.
Like all of the stuff that they're making movies about and that actually made money at the box office is based on shit that came out in the 80s and the 90s or earlier. you know?
Yeah. Well,
And
Justice League was a Saturday morning cartoon that I used to watch.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And that was based on a comic book series that was like the first team up, which
yeah,
was in DC, which was Justice League. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like after that, you like how many infinite gauntlet stories are we up to now? Because they can't find a new like like world ending event that they haven't tried like every other month, you know? Or how many secret wars have they done at this point? Because they don't have creative crews at these companies to go ahead and produce anything worthwhile. Like these guys are creatively stagnant. Like they're creatively impotent. You
Well, see,
know?
now this is a real creative troll. Like if you're actually trying to get people to talk shit on the product, and go after like people who are, hardcore, don't fuck with my fucking, my fucking world of tea and my comics. You know what I mean? It's like this is a triggering mechanism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
So it's like I'm wondering if they actually initially when I first saw this, I'm like, this is an epic troll. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I thought this was, I mean, whether it was a joke or not, you know what I mean? It seemed like like it could have been because again, to see this, knowing this comes out of Marvel. I mean, at first, when I first
yeah.
saw this, I thought it was a joke. And then I realized that it actually came out of Marvel. It was really a Marvel product. And I'm like, okay, well, then that means it went through multiple levels of approval before we were ever able to see it.
I think I get what you're saying. Like you're trying to say like no publicity is bad publicity, right?
I'm thinking
But the problem,
I'm thinking that they're trying to find a product that will serve two purposes. One, trigger the haters that they've been dealing with, because these are the people up here are the ones that are familiar at this point. The people that are approving this are familiar with all the fucking latherish, foamish hate that's been coming at them for the fuck what they've been doing to the comic book industry, right?
absolutely.
So, and then so they picked two phrases that are like the biggest trigger phrases on the internet. You know what I mean? One is directed at people who is used by those people, who say, you fucking snowflake, and then the snowflakes use the term safe space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the problem with that is that they used that same method when they introduced female Thor. They used that same method when they did a manly Captain Marvel. I'm talking about the female version. And the problem with that is the sales numbers don't reflect.
I'm not saying it's a wise business decision.
No. But what I'm saying is that it's a failed model. You see what I'm saying? Like because they're thinking like, hey, that's piss off the fans enough to where they'll buy this. But the problem is that they're pissing off the fans enough to where they're not going to buy it.
See, I wonder. You know what I mean? So I wonder if hold on, I'm going to tell Homeboy we're still streaming.
I think you said snowflake, so we got kicked off the internet.
Did we?
No, I'm kidding.
Like that would be hilarious because we're fucking trolling. No, we're not. We're still on.
I heard a lot of people were having problems with that though. Because
no, it is happening because of the way that flags work. Some channels are considered sensitive. Okay, all right. On that, this is hold on a second. Let me.
Oh, you're finally out. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, we're there. Did we get like darked for a while? Because I didn't.
No. It's the problem is that whenever people are going live and they're in my favorites, like it doesn't appear right away. Like like you finally appeared in my favorites as far as like.
I got you. So what I was going to say is that I actually have a friend who works in the tech side of YouTube. I can't drop names. I can't say anything like that because I get everybody in trouble. But he gave me an update on what's going on with all this, you know, and summarizing, without releasing anything I can't say. He basically said that there are some YouTubers out there that have real controversial content. And during this time period, with the regular quality team that does reviews are not available, right? Because they don't work remotely; they work from in-house.
Yeah.
And so and then they're lower paid people. They're not higher paid people. You know what I mean? So they're the expendables.
Yeah, they're like, I don't care. I'll just flag everybody. I'm not
Well,
getting
no,
paid enough to.
so what they did is they automated the process to some degree, a large degree, and hire people who have what they okay. So they have all these like hidden like things that they put onto videos if a video is triggered a lot, you know what I mean, if it's like hated on a lot, like if a video is targeted for hatred, right,
Yeah.
and they're not guilty, right, like for instance EVS,
Mhm.
right, he's regularly targeted for hatred, you know what I mean, people just regularly attack him, and so his channel probably has some mechanisms associated with it that protect him from being false flagged.
Yeah.
Because it's happened so much, there's probably mechanisms assigned to him, right? Those mechanisms exist. I'm saying that because he's been false flagged so many times, they're probably assigned to him. Whereas some other channels don't have those assignments. So if somebody's hammering at them, you know what I mean? Those channels can get, they get flagged over and over and over again. They're going to go into an automation state, right?
Well, I was talking to Micah, and Micah said that he was shadow banned. Like, you're not officially banned, but you're not going to show up anymore in anybody's search engines or anything like that.
There is a suppression feature that can be applied to videos and channels. If a video or channel seems as if they are counterproductive to the community, they will be suppressed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think that's what's happening with all of like that. I think that's why your channel didn't show up right away. You see what I'm saying?
I'm not a suppressed channel. That much I know. But I do know that the reason why my channel is and that kind of stuff that's not showing up right in the live stream, that's just a buggy thing that's going on right now. That whole live stream not showing up thing, that's just a current bug, and they're not.
So they're not actively trying to go ahead and stop people.
No, that is not something that is an active. It has a lot to do with settings on your channels. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just a current bug that is not getting addressed. Not getting addressed fast. Yeah, that right there is just a bug. All right. Because they're that doesn't work into their model. They're not trying to like hide anybody because again they make money off of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? YouTube profits even from haters. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, more controversy means more views. Yeah. Unfortunately.
But their quality assurance department, their tech department, all that kind of stuff has been scaled back during this time period because again, they're all in California, and California has a lockdown law right now.
Now, you know what I mean? This is another character I want to mention with the New Warriors. Mm-hmm. So, do you think they based one of these characters off of Dora the Explorer?
No, I doubt that.
You think?
Yeah, that girl with the backpack.
She's Spanish. She's got a magic backpack. The only thing she's missing is a monkey. That's it. That's all she's missing is a monkey.
I would think that possibly maybe those tropes are in the back of someone's mind, but I doubt they put that forward on purpose.
Yeah.
However, I do think that all these characters, I honestly have this gut feeling that all these characters, at least in initial design, an initial proposition, were designed to be an epic troll because every single one of them makes fun. It totally attacks the tropes. You know what I mean? So there's no way this is not an epic troll. I mean, come on. You have a pink dude. You know what I mean? Okay, you're going to put a male looking, even though they're supposed to be like non-gender. I mean, it's obviously a guy. Look at the bone structure. It's obviously a guy. You know what I mean? And he's in pink. Okay, so that's supposed to appeal to the LBGT.
Now, did you notice something else about these two?
With the she's a ball sack and he doesn't? Or what?
Yeah. that's exactly what I was going to say. Like she's got a big bulge and he doesn't have anything.
Right, but she has the hips and the waist and the near bust line. Like maybe she's an A cup, but they're still there. Yeah. Right. So
that's crazy.
So maybe
I think you might be right. You might absolutely. But I mean, is it worth this guy like sacrificing his? Like, let's be honest. I mean, they're losing thousands upon thousands on this book. Like, and if it's
wait. Here's the thing. You got to think big picture. Okay. Yeah. So like, okay, are they losing thousands and thousands, or are they redirecting marketing money?
What do you mean? Like,
because people are talking about Marvel, They're bringing attention to Marvel. They're
Yeah.
drawing attention. They're drawing attention to people who are usually okay. So like think of it like this. All right, if you're somebody who's just an obscurist, like
So you're
new
saying they're not going for book sales. They're going for, hey,
no,
look
they
at
are.
us.
They're going for all of the above,
Because
right?
they're not going to get book sales off of this. I mean, this
Okay, so-
method does not
No,
work.
this I believe they will get book sales off of this, and let me explain how
Okay.
that'll work. Okay, so like the Alex Jones mindset type of people, right? Like, which is all over everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is attacking this shit, especially on Twitter, YouTube. That's where you find a lot of that kind of thing. You know what I mean? They're attacking the shit out of this, right?
Yeah.
Now, those people who are attacking the shit out of this have people that atrociously hate them so much that they will spend money and become loyalists to
Yeah.
this kind of stuff because of who hates it.
But that's another thing too. Like that argument's
I'm
been
saying-
made before in
I'm
the
saying-
past.
What
and
I'm trying to say is like it appears to me
yeah.
from the approach they are taking like the epic troll, almost making like a joke of the characters, like here's a
Mhm.
funny angle to everything, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
we're kind of making fun of the whole thing to an extreme, you know what I mean? So and they could even say we were making fun of it, we're just being lighthearted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can take whatever excuse they want. We can say we were targeting people, we're making fun of it, but by taking this approach, they're drawing a lot of attention to these characters, right? And then you're going to have people who are, again, the audience they've been trying to bring into comics, teenage LGBT, teenage, identity struggling, people who are hypersensitive, guys have no tea, you know, this kind of stuff. This is an audience they've been trying to bring into comics.
Yeah.
This is the audience they've been trying to reach with, Marvel, with all the new Marvel and all the DC and all the.
No, I get what you're saying. I do, honestly. I do. But
yeah. And so by offending the people that these people hate,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? They're going to bring attention to these products.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That these people will identify with. Now, here's where I think it's with the biggest mistake of this whole concept is obviously these people may do a one-off buy, but they're not going to become loyalist fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They may support, that they may even spend as much money buying a thing. They may click likes on YouTube. They may retweet. They may support it, with their time a little bit and that kind of stuff for the first release of the concept, but I doubt that it would be a continuing thing.
Well,
because-
that's what I'm saying. Like these
Because
people
those
that you
people-
describe don't
Yeah.
collect comics. Like
They
it's
don't
been
want it,
proven
no.
before that
Yeah,
sales
they're-
numbers don't reflect
Right. They're not the
plan that
audience.
they're pushing. You
Yeah,
know?
they're not the audience, even though they're trying to drag them in, they're
Yeah.
not the audience.
Yeah, like Captain Marvel #1, they kept releasing that, canceling it, releasing it again, canceling
Right.
it because they couldn't get the numbers up.
And
You
the
know,
people who
because
make these decisions are not people who buy comic books or read comic books themselves, or even like really care about following the comic book thing. Like they don't even keep tabs. They probably don't even read like Bound
Yeah.
the comics or Bleeding Cool or anything like. They probably don't even read that stuff because their interests are more like film, being a filmmaker or reality TV, or those are their interests.
no, I totally get that. But the smart play would have been to go ahead and hit the kids. You see what I'm saying? Like create comics for children because they're going to be the next generation of comic collectors, and especially now because in the movie industry.
That would be a smart
Yeah.
play, except the kids have proven not to be major comic collectors because most of the people that go to comic book stores, like, okay, you don't see kids too often
Yeah.
going into comic book stores by themselves anymore to buy
No, but that's another thing too. Like you got to get them back in Walmart, and they took steps to get comics into Walmart and drugstores and stuff like that. And they made the right moves in the beginning, but
well,
then
let me tell you the downside to that. Okay, like Alterna Comics, their price structure could probably survive a Walmart or drugstore thing, but because of the cost and the quality that's required from the modern day comic book, right? The damage rate for a book.
Alterna already has their books in a grocery chain. They've already taken steps to go ahead and do that.
Mhm.
And Alterna proved something else. Alterna proved that you can produce a comic for $1.50.
Yeah.
A less than $1.50 at sale. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, that's not
it's
wholesale.
no,
That's
it is that
and,
they have proved that. Let's not go
and
too
they
deep
can
into
go
that.
ahead and
We
produce
don't
these
want to
comics
we don't
and
want to
throw
we
them
don't
in
want to
there,
yeah, we don't want to
into drugstores like cheap comics to go ahead and where the loss wouldn't be that bad and keep the high end stuff for the comic book stores and, snatch the kids and get them in while they're young. I hate to say that, but it's true because the markets they're hitting now don't buy comics. Like they've been proven that they're more into activists, like politics than they are about the actual comic books.
no, they're not interested in a written medium at all. In fact, Ray, we got Steve Dye in the chat. Shelf space is yes. Here we go. Yes, shelf space is pay to play, and to a large degree with a lot of industries. That is the actual truth. While Steve, hold on a second. I got some noise. I got to jump and see what's going on. I hate that with my cats. They're just so assholes. But while I'm doing that, let's hit this here and give this another play. Can you hear that? Is that not coming through? That's not coming through. I didn't share the sound on that fucking shit. Yeah, Ethan's stream looks like he's done with his stream, by the way.
Really?
Or it got shut down or something.
That's probably why we got a viewer.
Let's see here. Damn it. All right, here we go. Boom. 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 Chrome window. Share audio. And then Doc Salem Monster Hunter. Boom, boom, there it is. And press play.
You know the story. A mad genius, an unholy creation. The world, of course, remembers the monster, not the man. But sometimes, when you look closely, there's more to a tale. Sometimes the monster is the man. This is the story of Dr. Salem, Monster Hunter. Dr. Victor Frankenstein endures life-threatening wounds inflicted by his very own creation. His trusty assistant Igor injects him with the elixir of life, which puts him in a state of suspended animation. When he finally awakens, and years have passed and time has changed, the world that he knew is long gone and the tables have turned. Now monsters have emerged from his shadows and taken over. Victor Frankenstein finds that he is one in man due to the devastation his creation had wrought. To make amends for his transgression, Victor assumes the guise of Dr. Salem and hunts down rogue monsters. This new and exciting series, created by artist and writer Preston Acevedo, is a 52-page graphic novel that combines Lovecraftian horror with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to give you a fresh new look into the world of classic monsters. So join the Doc Salem army and help Doc Salem bring peace and balance to the world, one monster at a time. Thank you for your support.
Doc Salem. Boom boom.
So sorry about the. Was that a long time wait when it was done?
Oh, you had to step away.
Was that a long wait?
Nah, it was good. You went and changed your shirt?
My fucking cats are killing each other in the other room, man.
Are they really?
Well, not really murdering each other for real murder, but
Did you tie their tails together and throw them over a clothesline?
Oh, as soon as they saw me, they stopped, and then they went under the bed, and they were starting to howl each other under the bed.
How many cats do you have? Like, I'm looking at one right behind you. Yeah.
I have a lot of cats.
Oh wow,
I have a lot.
You're like crazy cat lady or something?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's like over here. That's the running joke anyway.
No, I got a Doberman. That's it. That's enough.
I used to have only one dog, and then the floodgates got opened up all over my world, and being the kind of person I am, it became difficult for me to not you know what I mean, to not allow the cats to be taken care of. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another thing too. Is I'm allergic to cats. That's why we don't have any. But Heather's daughter got a cat, And this is the only cat I'm not allergic to. I can't explain it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like 1 in 1,000 cats has this fur that I'm not going to start sneezing or whatever. And yeah, he's an asshole, but he doesn't stay here all the time. We watch him every now and then.
That's funny. That's funny. So your dog doesn't stay there? Is he said?
No, he is. A dog's here all the time, but he gets along with everybody. You know, like he's a giant Doberman. Like he is 115 pounds, which is enormous for a Doberman. American Dobermans only get to like 75 pounds. And but he's got a European blood in him. And he doesn't have a violent bone in his body. But he's scary as fuck if you just look at him.
Yeah. So I just
thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I meant to send. Let's see, hold on. Oops. I just kicked out the I'm boomering right now, man. Totally boomering. I was trying to click a different thing, and then I kicked myself right out of the studio. I was trying to send Steve Dye a link, and I clicked.
Oh, to get him in here?
Yeah, because to invite him to come and talk some shit with us, and what my dumbass clicked the wrong shit. So, and then okay, so then here I need this. And then I need to
hit that button right there.
There we go. Now I got the invite out. And we got Mark Marianelli also. Hey, what is up, brother?
Lothar D.
I was on mute.
Mark,
sorry about that. There we go.
There you go.
What's going on?
What's up, man?
Not much, dude. It's a madhouse being stuck with the kids.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, dude. Congrats on getting the campaign up again, man.
Yeah. Well, like I was telling Drew, like I don't like to fail, and sometimes
everybody loves that.
Sometimes it's like beating a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is gonna work.
Nah, you've got you got 30 days already up to 892.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. Like, I mean, I'm usually. Like I was getting bummed for a second. I was like, "We're not past day 1, dude. Calm down."
No, man, that's really good.
I want to use that Doc Salem artwork that you sent me for something. I don't know what. It's just badass. I think you did. I'm not sure on it. I'll check it out. Is it raster art?
It's vector. I mean, I can get whatever size you want. Yeah.
No, vector's awesome because I use Illustrator, stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's what you use to create it, but
yeah, it's an Illustrator. So I draw it, scan it, vectorize it, all that stuff. So it's
nice.
Yeah.
So since Mark is in the chat, I can't help but I have to do this. I mean, not in the chat, but I mean in the screen. I have to.
Oh, jeez. It's gonna be my curse every time I.
Neck beard so tight, got my glasses just right. Feeling so I'm a beans, Twitter raging all night. As I tune to my feed, what's this I see? Hashtag COMICSGATE, so much controversy. I spit out my tea. This all caps logo is laughing at me. Hop on my steed, I'm chafing in my skinny jeans, but I got a white night till the daylight. Daddy working overtime for the soy boy life.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
Let me cluck for a buck. My IOU cut from the big till. Overflow with much. See, my roommates all agree. You need to pay a big diversity fee. And that indie smoke can't play dog with a mansplain. Can't hold a candle to my Hollywood payday. $20,000, you'll be pre-tax cheddar. I'd like to see you in cells trying deals better. Your pages float, your comics are late.
Thanks, buddy.
You're gonna regret sending that to me. I'm just telling you.
Already do.
But you had much less evil intentions with it, but
I have no evil intentions. I'm sharing it with everybody because it is not only is it entertaining and a sign of talent, but it's it is essential COMICSGATE, that song. I mean, it is the absolute like epitome of the soy boy troll that we fucking, you know what I mean? It has all the inside. I mean, you have to actually be part of COMICSGATE to get every one of those inside jokes almost. You know what I mean? So it's essential, man. It's essential.
Well, good. I'm glad I could contribute to the COMICSGATE family. So it's,
You definitely have contributed big to COMICSGATE family. That and you know, the fact that I mean, are you the first official COMICSGATer who put a video game of their property out before their comic book?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
That's amazing, actually.
Yeah. So how awesome is this? Well, when you eventually start your campaign for your book, you can everybody can be trolling the game. You know what I mean? Too bad, you know, everybody who has Apple. I mean, because obviously it's limited to Apple Arcade right now. But
yeah, it's hard to rebel against the system when you're an Apple stooge.
Right. Now, don't divulge anything you can't share. But out of curiosity for people who are wondering about themselves getting involved in the Apple Arcade. Is that that platform that you guys build it and you put it on there? Was there some kind of pre-contract where it's you're or are you getting a monetized from
I think so for Apple Arcade, I'm not sure how the rules are exactly, but I think you can, if you make any kind of game, you can put it out on the Apple platform. I don't think there's any real rules restricting it. For Apple Arcade, there were definitely contracts and exclusivity stuff because they want to make that platform a little more special. And
right.
People are paying for it. So there are contracts. I don't think it's anything like they get the rights to your stuff, but there is exclusivity deals where you can't put that out on any other platform, so no Nintendo Switch or PCs or anything like that.
Now, for that exclusivity, do they deliver a nice fat check, or is it going to be based on a percentage?
There's a few checks involved. There's percentages, and then they also pay for the development and stuff too. So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, they pay well.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, we're playing in a game next, and that's
let's do. Yes, I mean, I could draw all you want for it. Unfortunately, I have no knowledge of how to program. But
who did your programming? Was it a buddy of yours?
Or Crescent Moon Games. And I only knew them. I had done some fan art for them a couple years ago, and they just kind of followed me after that, and then. Yeah, just out of the blue. I don't know if he was running out of ideas or what, but just reached out and asked if interested in doing a game with him. And he saw.
No, it looks like a fun game. I seen you playing it, and I was like, God, that's really badass.
It's fun. It's not perfect, but it's fun. Yeah. It looks nice. I'll my part that I can contribute. I can.
Remind me of the original Mario a little bit. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was. It's meant to be like a old school platformer. Kind of rips off Commander Keen a little bit. Some regards. Yeah, it's a fun little game.
I am a fan of it. I have played it quite a bit myself. So.
Yeah. I'm surprised you got past the first level. A lot of people were just I gave up. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, no, there is one difficult spot that I just couldn't. That is hard to get past. But once you figure it out, it's it's all right.
Yeah, there were a couple areas that we didn't get a ton of time to really polish out. They just put out a bug fix a day ago that actually fixes a big issue that it was having.
Yeah, well, the one area when you have to get back up after you go down to the bottom area and then the arrow is on the sign to go up.
Yeah,
a lot of people would probably get stuck there because that's really the hardest place I had to get back up.
Yeah, people didn't know that you can stick to walls or double jump. We didn't really explain it. We tried to really quick because we literally was the game was due the next day and we're like, oh, we need instructions. So we're just slap something on the screen and it barely applies to all the different platforms that it's for. So there's a lot of running around with it. So.
You should do a Captain Love game where the boss fight is you have to bang this princess or something.
I'd love to see the pitch meeting for that with Apple. Okay, imagine for a minute.
No, somehow I think Apple would not be interested in a Captain Love game. You know what I mean?
The name alone would sell it, though.
No, seriously, a Captain Love game would be awesome. But I can't imagine how it would go without having to be a full on actual game with the middle stuff. So.
I was actually talking to somebody a couple of years ago about doing a road trip phone game where it would be something like Spy Hunter, like like
A
the
road
old-
trip
Yeah.
Spy Hunter game.
where you'd have like the Devil Driver, and the Devil Driver would be going, it'd be kind of like some crazy shit like Spy Hunter, like the old Atari version or some shit like that. Yeah.
And it's all to the Devil Sounder, Devil Driver.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the soundtrack could be Devil Driver,
Right.
Swinging the Dead or something.
You joke, but that would
You would have to do all kinds of cool little rockabilly road trip tropes in it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
absolutely. That'd be awesome. Yeah, but I dig this. This is awesome. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
So
fun.
you
It
did
definitely-
all of this, right? Did you do all the backgrounds and everything? Or
Yeah,
did
all
you-
the art was me. Anything visual was all me.
Nice. I'm digging that planet in the background right there. That's
Thanks. Yeah, that was. I did that one early. It was meant as more of a joke, and then we just put it in because I was just looking at a lot of Salvador Dali pictures. I was like, I should
Yeah.
put the background like that, and we named the planet Dali. So,
oh, you got to jump
Yeah.
on the fish.
yeah, you got to jump on it. Yeah, and again, there was no way to really indicate that you could do it, but
you got to figure it out by trial and error.
hey, look at that. Yeah, well, that's good. At least people can play it without I guess. Yeah, this level was brutal. I don't know why we made it second, but there's easier ones after this level. Oh, I was like, was that the game music? I didn't know.
Get a game.
I love how it grabs the wall and slides down. I love that little bit.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of little fun things in it. It's a fun game to kind of kill some time too.
So if you do Apple Arcade, anybody who has Apple Arcade, go. It's Starfetched. Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be a comic at some point.
Yeah. It doesn't cost any extra. If you already have Apple Arcade, it doesn't cost any extra. So,
Yeah.
And Apple Arcade's only $5 a month. So
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cheap. Yeah. I honestly, I wasn't even going to get an Apple Arcade after we made it. I was like, I'm not paying for Apple Arcade. And that was cheaper. So I was like, all right.
That's awesome.
yeah, until they raise the price, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, then I'm out. I'll just never play my game again.
I'll just never play my own game again.
I'm going to read my comic.
You got a version on your PC where you can just.
I have some builds I can. We were joking after the
I mean,
game.
do you have a
Yeah,
version?
no, we were joking after the contract is up. We were just going to put out all the assets so somebody can make a better game out of it if they wanted to, because there's a ton of artwork people can play around with. And
A Saturday morning cartoon or something like that. That'd be awesome.
oh yeah,
If they had Saturday morning cartoons anymore.
I don't think they do. I think a few years ago, I remember on the news it was like, this is the last day there'll ever be a Saturday morning cartoon like for children. And
You noticed
Fascinating.
they used to have the Super Arcade Hour or some shit like
The
that.
world, of course, remembers the monster,
Oh.
not the man. But sometimes, when you look closely, there's more to a tale. Sometimes the monster is the man.
oh,
This
it
is
looks
the
so
story
good.
of Dr. Salem, Monster Hunter. Dr. Victor Frankenstein endures life-threatening wounds inflicted by his very own creation. His trusty assistant Igor injects him with the elixir of life, which puts him in a state of suspended animation. When he finally awakens, many years have passed and times have changed. The world that he knew is long gone and the tables have turned. Now monsters have emerged from the shadows and taken over. Victor Frankenstein finds that he is one in man due to the devastation his creation had wrought. To make amends for his transgressions, Victor assumes the guise of Dr. Salem and hunts down rogue monsters. This new and exciting series, created by artist and writer Preston Acevedo, is a 52-page graphic novel that combines Lovecraftian horror with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to give you a fresh new look into the world of classic monsters. So join the Doc Salem army and help Doc Salem bring peace and balance to the world,
Oh,
one monster at a time. Thank you for your
that
support.
looks so good, dude.
Yeah, it should do.
That
it
looks
should
really
do
good.
The
I still don't understand how this didn't get funded the last time. It looks really good.
I made a bunch of mistakes, and it was my first campaign like that I was doing by myself. So I was like, fuck, dude.
Would you have
One,
it
I
set
set the
to
goal way too high.
7,000? Is that where you had it set to 7,000?
10.
Can't.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Dude.
And it was timing was bad. I think I launched it towards like it was
like one of those Christmas launches or something.
it was before Christmas, but I think it was too close to the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it was like September or something like that when I launched it, and because I remember it went through October, so September, October. Yeah, so I think it ended like in early November. So it was just launched way too late in the year, and the goal was way too high. I had too many people like that were expecting money because they were part of the creative team, and
Yeah.
I should have handled everything myself, and that's what I did this time. Like I'm handling pencils, inks, all that kind of stuff, and it gave me like because of the road trip campaign. It gave me extra time to work on it and get the pages done.
Nice.
So yeah.
Man.
So I'm a little bit ahead of the game on this one.
Would have been a good if it wasn't such a crappy time of year. This would have been a great like Halloween Day launch.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know?
Unfortunately, you're right. Like Halloween is just way too late, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, it would have been perfect.
Halloween's just not a friendly time. I launched October 1st, Captain Love, you know what I mean? And I didn't have like a super high goal, but it was even though I had a super low goal, it was a slog. It was hard to get to
It
that
was,
point.
dude, because I remember that. I remember like you were pushing like crazy. I was pushing like crazy, and it was like,
Well, the thing is, we did launch our campaigns roughly at the same time, and it was right after all the Incridius crap. Actually,
I think it took like 15 to 20 days just to get to where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had a 60-day campaign, so it was bad, dude.
Yeah, I'd actually first heard of Captain Love on. I think it was one of the war campaign streams. They were talking about it. I think they're saying like, yeah, we had to make him censor some stuff or something.
That's so funny.
That was the first I heard. I'm like, oh yeah, check this out. What is this?
When I was trying to share my PDF, I mean, like the book with people, like to show them stuff that I had a PDF, and every once in a while I would flip past something that was not safe for work. So that ended up on a few streams.
I don't think it was that. I mean, there was a lot of insinuate because I got the book, and I don't think it was that bad actually. I mean, it was maybe artistic erotic, if anything. I don't think it was like full on penetration.
No, it was.
It's not like it was. They're like, oh man, you couldn't do that.
This wasn't a Veronica book. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was cool though. Like I dig it.
When are you shipping out the next batch of those?
You got one on the way already, man. I already
nice.
shipped out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, Mark bought one just I guess the other day, and then Although I've noticed that there's been no, I mean, orders like stopped when coronavirus lockdown happened.
That's what I was wondering if there's even going to be able to get out.
Well, no, the post offices are still open. You know what I mean?
Great.
They're still mail. So, I'm
it's the printers though. That's the problem. Like, I got a message from my printer, and they were like, "We're shut down. We can't deliver on the order you made." And I'm like, "What?"
Did you like Corona lick my copy though before you sent it out?
Yeah, I know, right?
No coronavirus here. No coronavirus here.
Cough in a box before you seal it.
The little jar that comes with it.
Swab. Like, oh, let's get some of that. There you go.
Fill the bubble wrap with the disease.
I feel like Raiders of the Lost Ark and open that thing.
Yeah. Get sprayed in the face with Corona. What tripped out, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he said Corona beer asked them not to name the virus Corona because people were scared to buy Corona beer.
Yeah, I think they took a hit. Like all their sales went down for like.
I was like, what inbred motherfucker thought it was Corona beer that was spreading the coronavirus?
Exactly. and on the beer joke comes Steve Dye. Welcome, Steve Dye.
I'm sticking to Pacifico, maybe a Sol, maybe a Modelo. Staying away from the Corona.
Staying away from that Corona.
Yes. Sweet Corona.
Oh, it's crazy, dude.
Got to have my Cerveza, but there's other brands out there. Try to stay healthy.
So Steve, how's the process coming along on CG Jumpstart?
It's in the can, brother. I'm just waiting on people to get vestige in their hands. As soon as that happens, campaign launches. It's done. It's wrapped up.
Yeah, that's a good policy to make sure people got vestige in their hands first, because then it's easier to say, "Look, we fulfilled. Don't worry." Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're all in that. all of us are in that same boat of needing to establish a fulfillment record, show that it can be done and so forth. So one step at a time. But yeah, that's where we're at. The magazine is all wrapped up. So
Excellent.
hoping to launch that very, very soon. And, given a modicum of support from the COMICSGATE public, we'll get right to work on the next one.
Well, you got our support. That's for sure. So.
Oh, definitely. Like CG Jumpstart is going to be what Wizard Magazine or Hero Magazine used to be like.
That's pretty much the idea of it. Yeah, I mean it's heavily enlaced with some Shogun Jump, and that there's ongoing serials and previews of campaigns. Trying to get it right, Preston. You'll appreciate this. We're trying to get it right to where we can preview campaigns that are about to launch. Or,
absolutely.
It doesn't do any. Running previews of stuff that's already been in demand for 3 or 4 months isn't going to have the effect that we hope we can have on, kind of like stimulating the COMICSGATE economy, as it were. But yeah, definitely.
I think it's a cool idea. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of miss Wizard Magazine. Like, Wizard was like one of the best things for comic collectors. They even had a price guide in the back. Of course, those prices were skewed in favor of all of Wizard's specialty comics they were including with the magazine.
Well, that's we've had some people request a price guide, but I feel like it's too early in the gestation of where the prices are going to fall to do that. And so that's much like the Wizard price guides were skewed by certain factors, and so
well, Wizard would skew it like as far as like if Wizard put out a an ash can for like Grendel versus Batman or something like that. Like that Wizard special would always, like the very next month, it would be worth like $300 or $400. It was nuts.
I mean, there were definitely shenanigans, or allegedly shenanigans. But yeah, I mean, the thing to me to dwell on is that it was a great resource for comics fans. It really, it was interesting talking to a few of the creators, like talking to Andrew Huerta, who's the main long form interview subject in the magazine here in the first issue. We were talking about what really got him thinking that he could do comics for a living. And he talked about how he had become a fan of comics just before McFarlane, Liefeld et al. Had left Marvel, and that he had then followed them over to Image. But it was really Wizard Magazine normalizing the creators, the artists, and the writers, that they were just regular guys that kind of made it click with him that, hey, maybe this is something that I could do for a living. And 20 years later, 15 years later, I guess I hope that's what COMICSGATE's doing.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what, one of the things I really liked about Wizard Magazine was the letter art and the fan art and the how to draw sections in there. All that kind of stuff was great. Yeah,
I always remember my favorite issue of that was that 30 year they did the entire X-Men. They did like this 30 years of X-Men edition of Wizard, and they had like every X-Men character listed on there with all their powers and stuff. And I got most of my knowledge of X-Men from that magazine. Like my knowledge at that point, I didn't have a ton of the comics, but I had the cartoon and the Wizard magazine that just like give you the rundown of everybody.
I was flipping through an old issue the other day, and they used to do great stuff. Like, we all know where we're at with Mark Waid now, but I still like me some Alex Ross. And they did a Kingdom Come issue where it was page after page of Easter eggs and things you might have missed from Kingdom Come. And, I knew and digested that stuff a long time ago, but still, it was just cool to flip through it and reminisce. They used to really spotlight the creation process. I really like process,
Yeah. Plus, they also used to spotlight indie creators too, like Jeff Smith and Mike Allred and Matt Wagner, all those guys. And like, I like their books, but like it gave you an insight into the person that was creating them, and I thought that was really, really cool. Yeah.
Well, I thought that when Andrew brought that up, it really made me think about that, that it was like, he was like, these are just regular skinny, geeky guys. They can do that. I can do that, and that, I was like, that's really cool, but it inspired him. But that's what we're trying to do. I mean, there's definitely, again, a generous. Gat came up with the idea and wanted to do sort of a Shonen Jump sort of thing. And I argued pretty hard for the Wizard thing, and we eventually met somewhere in the middle. So there's a lot of sequential art. Again, there's anthologies, and there's some ongoing stuff, but there's also previews. But yeah, man, I mean, there's the starter pack section that's got kind of some little shorts and stuff, like a little short feature on EJ Morges and some stuff like that. Some fun stuff like the COMICSGATE Power Rankings, where we gathered up some consumers and asked them to, rate which creators hold the most sway at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we got some fun. We've got Ask Norwal, where he gives lifestyle advice. That's a little illustrated feature. But yeah, and then we've got a lot of sequential art and so forth. We've also got a long form interview with Andrew, and then something that I want to continue to make better. But we do have some tutorial stuff. We've got a thing about panel breakdowns and panel layouts, and leading the reader's eye from Phil Diaz, and Ethan and Kyle Ritter were gracious enough to come off a file from the original Cyberfrog to let us use for that. And 3D Robin, who's helped out with the graphic design in the magazine immensely, he's got a thing about designing the logo and trying to get some nuts and bolts. I'd love to have drawing tutorials and all that sort of thing in the future.
Well, I'm down.
And really cool comics by yours truly.
I'll hook you up. And if you want, I can also give you a preview pages for Road Trip and also Doc Salem and stuff like that. And maybe some roughs, whatever you need. Just let me know. I'm here to help.
Yeah, I'd love to get it in there. Like I said, we're gonna launch this one real soon, and high hopes, modest ambitions. But if there's the backing for it, we want to get right into another one. And it's like a buddy of mine used to say, it's not a party unless everyone's invited.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that cover art alone is it's so nostalgic. That big image of a sovereign on there and the logo.
Yeah. Well, Andrew was. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah, Andrew was the perfect guy. We bandied that back and forth, and obviously we were talking about a bunch of heavy hitters, and I think we could have maybe, felt like they were all like people that we could get or whatever. But yeah, ultimately we landed on Andrew because it's just so electrifying and it's so
perfect.
Nice, and it's it's like tinfoil hat Nick says, one of the great promoters in COMICSGATE. You can hear Andrew's art. So,
That's awesome.
But yeah, we're excited about it. Going to get it out.
Huerta is amazing. His artwork is amazing.
Yeah.
So.
There's
no doubt there's no doubt that that's a great hit. So I have a question about CG Jumpstart. Are you guys doing any preliminary build up before the launch other than just YouTube? Like, have you guys submitted any samples to any of the online review resources and say, here, we're going to be putting this out, let's make a noise? Okay.
All of that and more. No, let's not go with more. At least
still waiting on the pre-launch.
Well, most of all of that is, it's in the queue. As soon as we've got a couple of our good friends, our A-listers who have physical proofs of the book in their hands. Of course, Rogat and myself all have the proof and all that. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a big truck with a beeper backing up to Gat's house right now. But just as soon as we see out there on the Twitter sphere that real world customers have the books in their hands, we're going to do the pre-launch page, and we're going to get the push on. We got to do that first. Don't even. Obviously, we've been talking about it and previewing it, and Adam AF on Arch City Comics has had a weekly show helping us highlight it, and that's been really good. But we just got to get Vestige. It's been a laborious labor of love to bring Vestige to fruition. Let's say that.
Yeah, no, Vestige is going to be awesome. I'm excited. I've seen enough to really be excited about it. And then you guys have the 81K, sale point, which is, huge. Sure, it's over almost a year of time, but it's still, that's a big number that a lot of creators would be jealous of. And of course, it's misleading, obviously, seeing 81K on Indiegogo, because we all know that there's a large portion of that is actually shipping and handling. But.
Well, the costs certainly eat it up. Nobody's going to get rich doing this. And I feel like I've been talking a little too much, but I do want to touch on something you guys were talking about just before I came in. We feel very fortunate, blessed even, that we've been able to do this well with Vestige. Also, you guys talked about Preston talked about his earlier campaign. You were talking about your fledgling stages of getting Captain Love launched. We're in a much better time now. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I'm not grousing about it. Again, I'm really happy with 81. Let's keep it going. But last year the waters got a little turbulent in COMICSGATE.
Yeah.
I feel like they've smoothed out quite a lot, and that's really my point. I feel like this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be the second summer of love type of thing, but it's
Summer of love.
Yeah. Well, obviously the Ides of March are behind us, and the winter of our discontent hopefully is about over, and antis can go on and find something else to do with their time, and we can all flourish in shared opportunity. So or we're all going to die from the Pacifico virus. I don't know if it go either.
It'll be a glorious death.
I don't think we'll die. I think we're just gonna mutate.
Well, as an artist, all of my work will go up in price if anybody wants to purchase some now before I do die from the virus.
Now Drew is going to send you a Corona comic now just to make that price go up after.
Hey, can you sign this? Now breathe this in.
Like cha-ching.
It's hilarious. Yeah. So again, Vestiges looks awesome. It's going to be great. I mean, you got great writing, great artwork. You guys worked really hard on pushing that. I mean, the current market is it remains to be seen how things are going to change. Because as soon as this Corona scare came up, I noticed that I haven't been getting very many orders. I mean, I haven't been getting like a whole lot of orders, but I noticed that it just kind of went cold. It went from like a trickle to like dead. And COMICSGATE is definitely still alive. I mean, I'm worried about the buyer's market just kind of taking a hit itself.
Well, I want to personally thank Marvel for using characters like Snowflake and Safe Space, because they're definitely driving fans towards us.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
I hope they give up rights to those characters and then just give them the anti-Werther after that, because the stuff that could be done with them is amazing.
Yeah, the stuff he did with that butt was amazing.
That was impressive. Very polygonal.
Did you guys see Huerta's remake of those characters?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Those are cool.
It was that was a thing of beauty. I just love that he made Safe Space a pimp.
I think they look too intimidating. Way too intimidating.
Right.
Nah, pimps aren't intimidating. They're your friend. They're your friend.
It's crazy.
All right. Hey, sorry, I couldn't be on long. I gotta duck out. I gotta go tend to the children. Already hear them going nuts out there.
Take it easy.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys, and then congrats, congrats, buddy, on getting this launched again, and it's gonna do awesome this time.
Hey, nice to virtually meet you, Mark.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, looking forward to Jumpstart. Oh, Sim's in there. Hey, later, buddy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Sim's in there.
I didn't even see you. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. We'll catch up another time.
Yep.
All right. Peace out.
Take it easy.
No, somebody let Sim in.
Yeah, I've been here for a while,
They'll let anybody in this chat.
Said how
That's
CJ
what happens when you leave the
Jumpstart,
door
how
open. People wander in.
I heard that Canadian accent earlier, but since I can rarely understand what you're saying, I just ignored it.
Giggity.
What'd you say?
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, let's hope that COMICSGATE is got good reinforcement this year, and then the guys, we have another heavy hitter who helps push now with the Raging Golden Eagles success. That works out really well for COMICSGATE as a whole, because he's a first-time producer. He's not a comic book, what you might say, well-known entity. So the fact that his book is digestible, because I mean, it's not all just his fan base buying it. I mean, it's also, you know, directly people who are discovering on Indiegogo and other methods also. So, you know, so that's a good sign. And the fact that he's also hardcore COMICSGATE and willing to produce, you know, promote other producers and spend energy promoting other producers is a really good thing. I mean, that's a good thing for COMICSGATE as a whole. And then we need more people on deck like that are that understand that promoting other promoters is essential, and that getting the word out for everybody is important. I hate seeing these people come into COMICSGATE. You know, what do they call it? Grifters, and they only worry about themselves. You know what I mean? They come in and they're like, "Yeah, look at my book. Everybody promote my book." Oh, I don't promote anybody really on my channel, or just a couple of people, just people I like. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's like it's just kind of like a double standard that kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth when someone comes in and they're like wanting to you know. Ride coattails and then, you know, not even give the reach around, you know.
Yep.
I've got
Too
to
many.
say,
There's way too many of those.
I mean, I profess a little ignorance, but you got to understand that my attention is focused entirely on COMICSGATE, and you know, I knew peripherally about Raging Golden Eagle. You know, I'd heard him mentioned. I knew that, you know, he was kind of part of the Yellow Flash anime thing, all that. You know, but he's not really somebody that had. Again, my attention's focused squarely on COMICSGATE. But yeah, I've heard him on a couple of streams lately, and clearly that's an old school comics fan. So, you know, I was
Well, he's a good promoter. He had me on his show, and he is COMICSGATE. You know what I mean? He really is.
You know, I would never discount somebody with 60, 70,000 subs as being a valuable ally and all that. But, you know, I just wanted to say that my 2 cents on this is having heard him talk about the history of comics and what he's read and so forth. You know, I feel like, okay, I share a lot of common ground with that guy. So
yeah,
cool.
He is well informed and well experienced in that as well as other markets, and that is a beautiful thing to have that kind of experience around. You know, his maybe even though comic books weren't his initial goal when he went into it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think he was thinking more anime, more video game, but now he's thinking multiple avenues and he's thinking, you know, big business, and he's realizing success is possible. So
Like you said this morning on the show, you said that he was always focused on doing a manga, then then video games and thing, but focusing mainly on comics and manga.
yeah.
But he does plan to do anime and video games.
Right, he's gonna diversify, and he's got the audience to support it, and his audience is always growing. But like any other creator, any other promoter, all of us, we all have to, you know, like think the same kind of way. Is that you know, obviously when we think about ourselves and we ask someone to promote us or whatever, but we also have to think about who else needs promoting. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even if we're not going to buy the book we're promoting, as somebody's solid COMICSGATE, you know what I mean? We should definitely, you know, help them at least find some kind of exposure. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yep.
I don't want to launch into another lengthy shield for Jumpstart exactly, but that's a lot of what the thought process going into Jumpstart is, you know. And it's been difficult with this first one in that we enlisted some people initially to see if they would, you know, help us bring it to fruition, and then, you know, there's certain page counts promised and so forth, and the next thing you know, you're like trying to figure out how to. It's not going to be a cheap endeavor to print a 120-page magazine and so forth. You know, we got to be careful.
Well, and one of the things that you could benefit from is that it's a magazine, and if you print it like a comic book versus magazine, if you think about it, you know what I mean.
It's not just a magazine; it's also a square bound magazine. It's magazine size, but it's going to be square bound, so don't forget about that part.
Yeah.
It's not staple. It's not saddle
perfect
stitch.
bound. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah, perfect bound.
Yeah, we're going to go perfect bind. It's going, you know, it's going to be. Okay, so Vestige and the upcoming Bullet Maker and the rest of GAT's projects, graphic novels, are going to be ultra premium. We're probably going to stop somewhere at extra premium on this, just due to the page count. You know, it's probably not going to have 120 weight. It's going to have really good paper though, because we want to, you know,
Well,
We aspire to
you
be a
could go
coffee table magazine. You know,
you could. I mean, obviously, if you're doing perfect bound, you can go a little bit better. But I mean, if you were still thinking like magazine style, I mean, obviously, you could get away with 55 pound. You know what I mean?
well, saddle stitch. I don't think you can go past 64 pages with saddle stitch, or 62 pages, or something like that. Like, I think it has to be perfect bound when you get into.
You can go 114 pages saddle stitch, but you have to go a lighter weight, like 40 pound.
yeah, about 86 is the breaking point where you're going to, inquire or type paper or whatever. At any rate, we're not doing that by any means. It's probably in the neighborhood of 80 weight, 90 weight paper. We're not going. The thing is, we've got to take into account, first of all, paper costs money. And
Yeah.
all shipping costs money. So the total shipping weight of a thick book is something that you got to. I don't know. That's not the direction I wanted to go at all, though. The point is that a guy like Preston is somebody that we want to have in there.
And Preston wants to be in there.
Well,
And Preston will put artwork for you in
brother.
there.
We want you in there. I found one page for EJ Morges, who 3D Robin had hipped me to EJ well before any of this stuff came up about him doing a Cyber Frog spinoff or any of that. And I was like, any friend of yours 3D is a friend of mine. That's how this works. And then I checked out his art, and I was like, what am I going to do? I can't cut Sim. I want to, but I can't.
Got to cut Preston. God damn it.
I would never cut Sim. But the point is EJ in turn was like, man, thanks for finding me some room. And I'm like, dude, you're making my book better. You're helping me. He's like, no, you're helping me. I'm like, no, you're helping me. And it's like, well, let's go out in the street and fight about it. But I mean, that's, the ever tired rising tide analogy. I mean, that's what we all got to do.
Well, I mean, as far as COMICSGATE, the most important thing to remember is that it is the philosophy that sold me on COMICSGATE, and that is we all got to grab an oar. Not everybody respects that philosophy. Not everybody respects it, and that's sad. But that is the key philosophy that makes COMICSGATE work.
And it's not that hard or that demanding to just retweet.
Yeah, well, you bring up a interesting thing too. Like Sim, grabbing an oar doesn't mean that you have to do a YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can contribute in some way, do it.
Just retweet. Retweets are as valuable sometimes as freaking.
Do some fan art. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you can do to go ahead and push another person's book up there, do it.
Trade those warm-up sketches and exercise instead of doing DC Marvel. Do CG characters.
Absolutely, and then give it to the person with their campaign and let them go ahead and use it as a perk.
Yeah, you send them like the high res and you go there, go print it and give it away.
Yeah. Make a cover.
Yeah. Both of these dudes. I mean, that's how Sim. He launched a campaign. It wasn't initially successful, and he really gained a toehold in COMICSGATE by doing, I wouldn't call it fan art this time. I think he calls it campaign art or promo. But still, he was promoting other people's works.
I'm doing. Sometimes I give sketch cards for campaigns.
Yeah,
just for the hell of it. Yeah.
And then at another end of the spectrum, you've got Drew here, my boy E. If somehow he could have got to us, if you could displace a timeline, he showed me in Gap completed Captain Love. I mean, like just scrolled us through it. Here's the PDF. It's done. I bankrolled this. I can't draw, but I've got a story to tell. I paid an artist. This is lettered. This is ready to go. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, I want to make room for this, and, jump start. And we're going to make room in the next jump start to get some Captain Love in there. Because, again, timing is everything and all that. But yeah, you got a guy like Sim that fights his way back. You got a guy like Preston that's making all the right moves to gain and build an audience.
Trying to make the right.
Nah, dude, you are. You are. You're hanging in there. You're not giving up. You're doing great. You're doing great artwork.
Well, that just means I'm retarded.
You've got this younger, more vibrant Malin persona going on the screen.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Don't appear to be partaking of the wolf's milk. I applaud.
I'm not going to be wearing a wig or makeup anytime soon.
No, but I mean, it's all about. you know, you got to have some talent. You got to have some aspiration, but you definitely have to have some perspiration.
Well, that's another.
dig a
Yeah,
ditch.
yeah. You gotta roll your sleeves up a little bit and use that talent. You know, you can't just laze back and say, "I'm too good for all you people."
Yeah.
And that's one thing about CG too, is like there's so many talented people in here. It's so diverse, you know? I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Like there's no corporate style in this, you know, house style going on over here. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. But we do have a collection of guys with a wide array of fairly corporate tools, or
Yeah.
down in the streets, learning how to make it happen with the bar band. He knows
It's kind of
that.
like all the
I know.
rejects. You know what I'm saying? All the rejects came together.
The Misfits. We're the island of misfits toys is what we are.
This is so punk.
Absolutely. So it's a lot. It's bringing talents to bear, but moreover bringing. I mean, it's the myth of Sisyphus. You got to keep pushing the rock up the hill every day, right? What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's I don't. I mean, I can like make all kinds of assumptions why Captain Love still hasn't taken off. You know what I mean? I was kind of hoping that like by this time of year this year that people would have started to buy the first book, knowing that I'm coming out with the second one fairly soon. But it really hasn't. I mean, it was just a steady trickle is all it's been, and every once in a while I get a little bump when I go on a live stream and there's a few people who haven't heard from me. And I'm not sure, if it's because of things people said in the past or because there's other people that are just, not interested in the project or whatever. So I had to reevaluate, like my approach, the business model. So I've made a significant investment, you know what I mean? And I can't like throw that investment away. So I have to figure out how to make that investment work. So then I've rethought. So instead of being able to release like Rise of the Pirate King all as one book, I have to do it in chapters. And now if my chapters only make a small, a few grand, right? That'll be enough to pay for the creation of those chapters, And so that the idea, the concept is to understand what the constraints are, understand the market, and just work within the limitations of the current market. Because I can't count on somebody like EVS. I can't count on somebody who has the ability to like give the holy endorsement that'll make me be successful. You know what I mean? So I have to count on what I can control, and what I can control is my own audience and my ability to get marketing out there and to reach a modest goal. So.
Well, you have to keep economies of scale in mind, and everybody has to find their own level of what that economy of scale is.
Yeah, and we do also have to figure out a way to give our books an after campaign life.
Yeah, no, there's an idea. There's a few ideas and works on that. The stuff that's happening in discussions behind the scenes. You guys talked about it a little bit this morning on the Morning Woke show with RGE. I've been ever since I got into COMICSGATE. The long term distribution has been my focus. So I've been looking into ways to get us there, and I'm actively pursuing avenues to see if we can find a successful model that'll help overall CG indie comics producers have a market after campaigns if so desired.
But Raging Golden Eagle was talking about it, but it was also referring to using image to distribute our thing or publish our thing. But the idea is don't forget is that Image also uses Diamond. Diamond is also part of the issue that's been putting all the comic book shop in trouble.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
I think Turner's working on a distribution service though. Like a
lot of people working on distribution services. Basically, the way that distribution works is based on a couple of different things. Like there's the financial aspect of it is what's key. So like, for instance, Diamond, they do warehousing, right? So they have, the ability to house a whole lot of different titles all within the warehouse itself. And then the ones that they warehouse, they obviously push harder because they're easy to fulfill. So like when Diamond sends a shipment out, you know what I mean? They actually are able to pull from their own warehouse and then stock it and send it all out as one shipment, which is easier for everybody, cost effective wise. If fulfillment happened from a million different sources at once, that would be where the problem exists. So being able, and so like Image, right? They follow a similar publishing model to where they fulfill through Diamond. But the problem that I would see with us trying to go through Image is that Image is hardcore SJW right now. Hardcore. I mean, the people, the stuff that they're feeding out, as far as the new properties, are completely following the SJW model. I mean, they're not going as crazy as Safe Space and Snowflake, but
and their printing is not impressive lately neither.
Sociological ideologies of Image aside, their business model, to me, and Drew, you'll get this, is somewhat akin to what the recording companies used for years.
Yes.
And that's minus the big advances, sadly, but what you get charged on the back end is who gets to who watches the Watchmen on those books. What a rock band used to spend, and they take a small percentage.
They take a big
Image
percentage.
they get
didn't
back charged on print fulfillment. There's no way to do that. What I think, go ahead.
Didn't Dan Frigga break it down a little bit in one of his posts?
Pretty much.
It was bad.
It
wasn't in your favor.
No. It's bad.
If you're not Robert Kirkman, that seems to be
they barely make
with Image.
The entire team barely make like $56 a page or something.
But the problem is market saturation. Okay, so the big time publishers, they think business model. Okay, they're trying to classify a successful comic as just it's a comic. You know what I mean? And so they're going to take those numbers and they're going to crunch them. They use the statistics. They use all these different business models because they're no longer the people that are running the show are like hardcore comic book fans. You know what I mean? They're not people that are like creators. They're not comic book artists. They're just businessmen. You know what I mean? So they look at the stats. They look at an idea. The idea sounds cool. Maybe they'll give it a chance. You know what I mean? But the cool idea is mixed with some kind of gimmick. You know what I mean? The gimmick is, is it diverse enough? Is it this enough? Is it that? Is the character I can't tell you how many comics are like that are coming out that the main character is either handicapped or LGBTQ or some kind of like major just social challenge versus actually having to have a real super enemy. You know what I mean? That's like a new theme that's going on, and
I don't. This might sound dismissive, and I don't mean it that way. I just mean that personally, I'm past that. I'm bored by it. To me, that's all transparent enough that it's obvious that they're bleeding readership with that approach.
Right.
What I see happening is, first of all, I'm certainly very interested in what Samedi's doing with what he plans to do, I should say. I want to know more about that. I also think that there's every possible, I think we can all agree that Diamond is somewhere between part of the problem and a huge part of the problem.
Oh, it's a huge part of the problem.
Yeah, they're going to go down. I think,
well, it's for us. It doesn't work. You see what I'm saying? You can't make any money with it going through Diamond as an independent publisher.
Especially
it's possible that there's the third or fourth or eighth man on the totem pole at Diamond that nobody listens to in the board meeting. He might emerge with another plan. Maybe something, maybe a Phoenix. Let's not get carried away. Maybe a crow rises from the ashes, but that's how I see it going with Diamond.
Well, with Diamond, let me just interject. With Diamond, the issue isn't Diamond. Diamond does pretty shady stuff, and they don't reimburse, damaged books, and there's a lot of stuff that they could improve on. But that's just because they're like the only distribution. They get away with a little crap like that.
Yeah, but they used to deliver books.
So if Diamond the diamond distribution model. If any creator, any independent publisher can get into that model, but the problem is that it takes so much extra money because to make the book thing, like the reason why I'm not doing diamond, I mean, diamond was part of my original plan, but I didn't get enough books. I didn't have enough money crowdfunded to where I could print enough books to go the diamond route and have enough also marketing money to go the diamond route.
Yeah, because even if you get accepted by them and they distribute you, you still have to pay to be promoted and to be announced in their magazine.
People talk about the days
Right.
when, sorry, Sim, but people talk about the days when they would, ride their bicycle to the corner store or go with the grocery store to their mom, and that's where they would pick up a comics book. But I can tell you that, from years of actual experience in the publishing field, increasingly that shelf space is very limited. It's pay to play. It's only the largest publishers that have any of the books. If you go to your supermarket now, you're going to find, you might find 30 or 40 or 60 magazine titles, depending on the store is, but those are all coming from 3 publishers because they're buying the space. Something new has to emerge. I think for now, hang on, Sim. I'm almost done.
I know, I'm winning.
Well, it's an inversion of what has been the mainstream comics model, I think, is the winning play as the market appears right now. And that is to provide the premium trade paperback quality book first, and to crowdfund that, and to, ask people to bet on, your vision, and
then having a
direct edition. Make that work. But I do hope, and it's a reason that I'm a big proponent of doing books in regular page signatures, trying to plot out story arcs and so forth, that they kind of end on 24 and start on 25 if you're doing a 48-page book, to later on be able to reprint them as floppies a year or 2 down the road, so that people didn't get in on the story in the first place have a way to catch up. So it's kind of like an inversion of the economic model of the big 2 or the traditional comics thing. But to me, that's the most viable avenue.
You offer the deluxe, but one of the best thing is you're making the trade also the first print. It's the first printing of your book.
Yeah.
So it
gives
it value.
Premium paper with a nice cover, good card stock.
And just to add to that,
later on, reprint it as a floppy.
And just to add for those magazine shelves there, I have one of my friends that did the attempt here. And he started everything started well, but the thing is, a lot of those magazine distribution, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of returns. And when he started getting those returns, that's pretty much when the entire endeavor had to stop after 6 months.
It's bigger than that. The whole magazine rack and grocery stores, that's 100% consignment. Just so we're clear, Walmart is the only place I know of that actually does, and Target, that do the actual purchases of the stuff they put on their shelves. So there's no returns, but the stuff that they put on their shelves is so dirt cheap because of the amount of bulk and their partnerships. And then again, Walmart, you have to partnership with anything that you put on their thing. So it's like a Walmart special edition in most cases. And then they will set it on their shelves for a while, and then there's a level of destruction and waste and that kind of stuff that Walmart absorbs and they write off and that kind of stuff. So a Walmart gig is going to be all right to some degree as long as as the property moves and doesn't get destroyed regularly, But as far as grocery stores and stuff like that, the reason why you see I don't know if it's pay to play as far as shelf space, because I know a lot of the magazines that have tried to get into the grocery store market, it is you have to have a significant financial resource base to be able to do that kind of thing, because of the amount of waste that's going to be accrued, and it's consignment. So it's like anything that's damaged, you eat, not the store.
And I'm telling you, my friend had to stop, and that's considering that because when you do those things, you have to have promo. You better have to have paid promo in your comic book, right? So that the promo that you sell actually pays for your printing. So the book was not costing him nothing, but he had so many freaking returns, damage issues, and this and that. You cannot keep it going into stores.
Yeah, but the point of having those books in the stores back in the day, I mean, this is when printing they were still doing newsprint. It wasn't that expensive for them to produce an issue. And yes, they did have a lot of returns, but they were still turning a profit. And even better than that is that they were bringing in more readers. Once they pulled those comics out of the drugstores, that's when they lost their readers. Like they lost the ability to bring in new readers because it wasn't as easy as, hey, mom's going to go shopping, you go play in the toy section or some shit like that. Because that's where I discovered comics. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that's when comics like Marvel and DC, they slit their own throats.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
let's
Like,
address. I can address the timeline on that because I actually did this research. That's because I'm a nerd like that. So, so like, okay, I remember a time when you had spinner racks like at 7-Eleven and you know the local drug, you know, Long's Drugs and whatnot. There used to be a spinner rack all the time, and then I'm like, okay, so what happened? Why did the spinner rack stop? And then okay, so like it's roughly the 90s again when this happened, and then if you think about what changed about comics, right? And that, okay, first of all, the price went way up per comic, and because the quality of the comic itself changed, the amount of money that they were spending into printing the comic, into marketing the comic, and all that kind of stuff significantly changed the price of the comic. So they were no longer 45 cents, 75 cents to get, like when they were on the spinner racks in the late 80s, very early 90s. They were like that. They were 75 cents, 45 cents. You can get them off the rack. You know what I mean? And they were newsprint on a straight newsprint inside with a really like maybe 60-pound cover. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
And it was just super dirt cheap. They were probably spending like 3 cents a book on their thing. So they were like, yeah, this is let's just sell this. And we make 80% of our return on this investment. We're good. You know what I mean? So kind of, like 80% sells, they're fine. So, because of the cost of the actual individual book changed, the consumer market changed from the super cheap throwaway book to the collector quality,
to the glossy paper
yeah, but
stock.
There's no reason why they can't go back to that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you wanted to put books back into like a spinner rack or something like that, it would cost Marvel nothing to go ahead and do that. And if you look at alternative prices,
you say it cost Marvel, you got to say it cost Marvel nothing. You got to think of how they monetize their business model.
We just talked about them releasing characters called Snowflake and Safe Space and spending thousands on just fucking with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like they don't have the extra money to go ahead and do that.
You're right. But the people running Marvel now, right, don't understand. They probably don't even know that there was a time where there's spinner racks in 7-Eleven, and they probably don't even know. You know what I'm saying? It's like the people running it now have no idea.
Right now, they got so big, right, that they can actually make more money off a failure with insurance of the investment.
No, you're right, and that's my whole point. Is like, it's going to fail, but you're going to bring in so many new readers. You know what I'm saying? That are going to go look at that shit.
But there's also the fact that back then, when they could do this thing, when they could have that like direct market plus the collectors, because before you could buy that new version of the book in comic book shop only. If you were going on the magazine, you had the direct edition that was like a new edition, right?
Well, the Spawn number one with the barcode is worth a ton of money, dude.
I remember back then.
But the point is, back then they used to print 15,000 copies to be able to sell them that cheap.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be 15,000. It would be more like 100,000, and they would basically be so cheap that they could throw away 20% or more of them, no problem. Right?
Well, look at alternatives like co-op printing rates. Like, you're looking at a 68-page book, full color for 57 cents a book. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's on news.
The difference is, you got to think, okay, as a businessman, I understand what they were looking at. All right. So they're sitting here. Okay, we can either take a financial gamble and sell shit on consignment, even though it's produced smaller and cheaper, or we can take less of a gamble, go through Diamond. Even they do direct now too, by the way, Marvel and DC, they do some direct. So go through Diamond and have everything that we ship out paid for before it ships out. You know what I mean? They have pre-orders. They have all this stuff done through Diamond.
But there's one key thing that they're missing with that business model, and that's that they're making their product hard to get to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not easily accessible anymore. You know?
they're looking at the bottom line, risk versus loss.
That's why some people push the digital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why a lot of people
Comicsology is actually proving to be a successful business model. I'm watching.
Not for the creators.
And it's owned by Amazon. They give you 50%.
Actually, just the numbers on that depends on a lot of factors. Obviously, there's not a huge profit in those things for creators that are unknown because it's hard for them to move product. And
have you released anything over Comicsology?
Not yet, but I know some people who have.
I have. And what happens is you get a big burst the first 2 days. And what I mean by a big burst, I mean because the book's only selling for pennies to $1, right? As far as the digital copy. So you get like 30, 40, $50 the first couple of days and then nothing after that. Because what will happen...
I'm staunchly anti-digital. And I don't mean to cut you off, Heath. In fact, I'm interested in having this discussion. But I wanted to add something on the last note before we move on. And that's that, I get what you're saying. I was very much a child of Spinner X at Graves Drugstore. I want that to happen. I'd love for them to get into, I don't care about Walmart particularly, but if they could get into Dollar Generals or something, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Now, having said that, I can't quite reconcile it with the fact that, again, I used to be editor-in-chief of Watercraft World magazine, which big effing deal, world's largest water jet ski magazine. Also, total world circulation of 250,000. So who cares, right? It ain't golf. It's not home and garden. It's not something everybody participates in. It's motorsports. I get it. But at that time, I also was privy to distribution contracts with everybody from Vaughn's Supermarket to Dillon's to Books A Million to Barnes and Nobles. And basically, that was a product of a company called Ellert Publishing that had like 200 titles at the time. And they were a small fish in a big pond when it came to, we can get your magazine into our grocery stores and you will be on the lowest shelf, the lowest tier, upper shelf, where you've got to bend over and look for it to even see it's there. Just like at the supermarket, the big name toilet paper is above the little name toilet paper.
Right.
Not to get all topical.
No, they organize the stuff like with the stuff that sells best in front and the stuff that not so well in the back.
If it's there, a kid's gonna find it.
I agree with that. Yeah, if we could get it into Dollar Generals, then it's going to find kids.
Oh, absolutely. Because I'll be honest, like when comics were in drugstores and I couldn't afford it, I was like, well, I want to get all of these, but I can't afford it. I would hide it behind behind the magazine. Yeah, absolutely. And then I'd come back like in a few days or next week and pull it out and go pay for it. You know what I'm saying? That was my folder when I was
have to cover it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I would love to see it happen, but it's hard for me to reconcile what I know from the publishing industry and how it was going and how things have gotten even more tightly funneled into a corporate environment in the 10 years since then.
But the thing is with Diamond put in rules in place like in the 90s because of Image. Image wasn't making their deadlines. Diamond couldn't fill orders, blah, blah, blah. They put all these rules in place that absolutely did not affect the Image founders at all because they were making millions at the time. They didn't care. What, I get fined $500 here, whatever. But it killed the indie market. It completely destroyed it, as far as trying to get your indie book out there. It annihilated it,
It's why there's a lot of people that hate Image. In the indie scene, they think they ruined comics, but it's true that they kind of like overflowed the indie market.
Yeah, they ruined the distribution for the indie market, because prices went up, fines were put in place.
But it's also because of the Diamond model too. It's a bit overdue and
No, you're right. Like, and that's another thing too. Like, Diamond would bully people out of the reason why they don't have competition. Like,
they
Heroes
bought them, closed them. Yeah, they bought them, closed them down. They destroyed them.
Yeah,
They made sure that they had the
they
monopoly
made deals
of
with
it.
Marvel
Yeah.
and DC to shut these people out.
It's-
Like
That's
Heroes
actually
had.
that's how
It's
Diamond
why-
did it. Is they
it's-
cut exclusive deals with
it's-
Marvel and DC, and then
Mhm.
that strangled the market. And then then recently, like in the last 5 years, their exclusivity contracts came up, and now Marvel and DC will go directly to the retailer.
And it's
So-
one of the
Yeah.
reasons why that the way that we've been answering that it's by doing books. Because if we do graphic novels, we don't necessarily have to deal with Diamond. We have access to book distribution that also are available to local stores, because they also get those graphic novels, those European French comic books translated are not ordered from Titan in the UK. They order from other book suppliers that just can't order comics, because comics it's only to Diamonds.
Yeah.
That's why the main model that indie comics were going for was technically a graphic novel idea, especially COMICSGATE, because you can still get a distribution deal with a book distribution and make sure that all the libraries and bookstores at least have it, and it's accessible to the LCS, except they won't have the same deal as with Diamond. It's just a different type of doing business.
Those distribution models are difficult to
And
to
the deal
close
that they
without having a publisher
And
sign on to it, right?
don't
So-
forget that there was also a big deal made between Diamond and the LCS, because all the LCS wanted to grow, so they had a very special deal with Diamond in the beginning that they used to be happy, because they liked the fact of just having to order in one and be able to do returns and this and that, but it came to a price. And this is what happened after all
One of
this.
my buddies managed a comic book shop. He doesn't manage it anymore, but whatever. Diamond used to deliver, like they had an order for one time it was 3 books, and it was in this giant 2-foot by 2-foot box. Right? And it had 2 books rattling around in there, and they were all bent up and destroyed. And if they have problems now, it's because they created themselves. You know, so I have no mercy for those guys.
There's the model has definitely worn its welcome out that they were using, but the problem is it's still the strongest model available. You know what I mean? So I mean, if anybody's going to compete with Diamond, they're going to have to get themselves a reach into the equivalent of local comic book stores, because a lot of people who run those stores are more or less lazy when it comes to ordering and stuff like that. They like being able to just go through the magazine that Diamond gives them and see what's coming through, and they usually order like the things that are advertised through there are things that they usually choose, and they just because here's the thing, a lot of comic book stores are not owned and driven by hardcore comic book fans. Like collector stores where they have a huge selection of collectors items, that kind of stuff, those are driven by hardcore fans. But there's so many out there that are just like pop, whatever's popular. You know what I mean?
Another
I
thing
think
too
we're
is
in the very last days. Yeah, sorry, bro.
They won't carry like COMICSGATE books. They won't carry alternative books because they're politically motivated.
It's not that they won't carry them. It's not that they won't carry them. It's that it doesn't make sound because I have every comic book store I have gone to that has a mature section has been more than happy to buy a bunch of Captain Love off of me at their discounted price and put them on their shelves. They've been excited about it. There is not. The only people that have ever even like give me a weird look are people that don't have a mature section. So.
And but usually the discounted price that they expect is a 40% off.
Well, that is a standard, by the way.
Well,
30,
I think
30 to 40%.
It's a standard that was established
by Diamond
and LCS.
Well, you got to think of that. That was one that was measured out over time because it was
40%. Diamond. Last time I checked with Diamond, it was 60% or better.
No. The store takes 40%. Diamond takes an extra 20% for distribution. That's where you're up at 60%.
Yeah, that's where you
get. And then
60,
after that, and then you have the extra 10 to 20% that the publisher also gets.
The publisher gets 55% of yours. Yeah.
It gladdens my heart to hear anecdotal evidence of a local LCS or more than one. Mom and pops being willing to put a COMICSGATE book on their independent shelves.
The shops around here won't do it. So
I've met with absolute zero resistance. In fact, I don't think anybody I seriously, I don't think there's been one comic book shop.
I don't hold out any hope for it. I really don't. I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, it's to kind of tie two analogies together. There was a time when going to the LCS on Wednesday was like Christmas once a week for me. I don't go anymore, but that was the deal. I would liken that to the point when, you know, when I was a young child, a big high point of my year was getting the Christmas catalog from J.C. Penney's.
Yeah.
but that time has passed.
No, it's gone.
You know, and I don't think the LCSs, I mean, I've got a deep appreciation for mom and pops. I hate to see any locally owned business go under due to demands of the marketplace well beyond their control, yada, yada, all that. But I just don't see you know, I think we're seeing, you know, the current situation hastening the demise of.
Well, I think what we're going to see is the way of the record store, where the local comic book shop will probably reduce their inventory.
I hope there's always the equivalent of that vinyl record store. I hope there's always a collector store. Yeah. But for every town of 30 or 40,000 people to have an LCS, I don't think so.
The only comic shops that are going to survive are the ones that deal with vintage books.
But
well,
the thing is,
it's unknown what's going to happen, because at some point somebody's going to come up with a model to deliver comic books to the people, to the stores that will sell them. If they're local comic book shops, if they're regular bookstores, if they're grocery stores, somebody's going to have the model that takes in the indie books.
Well,
that's the problem right now.
I'm honestly surprised. I'm honestly surprised.
Or again, some underling that I've never heard of from Diamond, that once he's looking for a job, he creates his own job by figuring that out.
Right. That's the thing. The first company that comes up with a rock solid method of producing a distribution and fulfillment model for indie comic creators is going to be the one that rocks the solution and makes a fucking fortune. So
I wonder if Diamond has a non-compete with their employees, like their executives. I wouldn't put it past them to have a non-compete. That's why you haven't seen that happen.
I would think that they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. That's standard corporate shit. Yeah.
Maybe, you know,
a dismissive asshole, but I would think that, well, yes, I do actually mean to be a dismissive asshole. I think that anybody high enough in the company to have a non-compete probably is part of the problem general.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And it's only greed that would make them break away from the company to start another Diamond.
It's going to be some smart, driven, ambitious, you know.
Well, here's where Diamond
manager to the manager.
Here's where Diamond changed their business model a lot. Like, okay, so like Diamond used to have a sales representative, you know, that would work directly with the LCSs, and now the only people that will work like, you know, like where they have an actual rep are LCSs that have a large scale purchase on the regular. Like if they've hit a certain dollar tier of regular buy, then they have a rep. Other than that, they have nobody they can call. Just boom, 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 boom. Hey, I know you know who I am. You know what I mean? We got a problem. Can we deal with this? Can we hustle something to make it work? Diamond used to have that in place for their clientele, which is the local comic book shop, and they don't anymore. Now it's only the super high scale clients that have like, you know, huge chains of comic book stores, or they're like what is it, Midtown Comics in New York that sells like an unprecedented amount of comics on the fly. Those kind of guys have, you know.
Well,
I hate to break out of here, but I am exhausted. I gotta eat.
Yeah, so. Actually, we should wrap this stream up. It's been going for like 2 hours, but definitely everybody spend a few bucks and back Doc Salem Monster Hunter on Indiegogo, and spend a few more bucks and back Vestige while it's still available. Back Blood Hunt, because it's going to be a fucking badass vampire assassin motherfucker.
Yeah, and it's closing at the end of the month.
And then you probably, if you're watching this, you probably already back Captain Love, but go buy it again, okay? Because it's coronavirus free and you can give it to somebody. All right.
Give it to your enemy.
All right. No, back Captain Love. Captain Love's new series coming out on the 29th. We're having a launch party of this month, month 29th, and that's chapter 1 of Rise of the Pirate King. That book's coming out in chapters, and then afterwards it'll be a book. But you're going to want to have the chapters because they're going to be collector's items, and they're going to be special, and they're going to be just something that you can't get anywhere else. And I'm excited about it. So.
Right on. Yeah, get behind all those. Yeah, you're
Yep.
doing good on Vestige. Yeah, get behind Doc Salem. Get behind.
And be
Sim.
ready for CG Jumpstart.
Yeah, be ready for CG Jumpstart for
definitely,
definite.
Get behind Jumpstart when we launch that.
So I got
But
some
hell,
right.
badass shit in there.
Everybody,
job,
thanks for
Tom.
watching. We're going to end this broadcast.
Bye bye.